Welcome back to the O Show, everything crypto and NFTs every day. You guys, I have a very, very special guest. And if you are a Ripple/XRP supporter, you better smash that like button. I have John Deaton. He is an outstanding attorney that gives really, really great feedback and commentary about almost everything crypto. John, please go ahead and introduce yourself to my audience.
Thanks, Wendy. Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure. Well, I'm not a securities lawyer by trade. I went down the rabbit hole like many people, read the Bitcoin white paper, became a Bitcoin investor, bought Ethereum, XRP, and several others. And when I saw the SEC case and how they filed the case, they didn't just go after Ripple, they went after the token itself, saying that all sales of XRP, even secondary market sales independent of Ripple, were also securities. Then I filed a case against the SEC asking them to limit their allegations to be only against Ripple. And fast forward, and I have 66,772 XRP holders from around the United States and 65 countries from around the world who have joined in the fight against the SEC. And we are amicus now in the biggest securities case in modern history.
I absolutely love that. And I also appreciate you're doing it because I don't think a lot of people understand. Like for a long time, I criticized Ripple, or not Ripple, excuse me, XRP. I criticized it because, the project was not necessarily perfect. And some of the people behind it were not, in my opinion, were not doing things super ethical, even though things were indicated in the contract. But at the same time, I trade XRP. I've got a moon bag of it. And I really, really just support Ripple's efforts against the SEC. And I don't necessarily think people understand how important it is. And I'm also the type of person to where if somebody makes a mistake in the past, okay, fine. But I like to look at the current actions. And I don't think people understand how monumental this case is. Like you can hate Ripple, XRP as much as you want, but at the same time, they have the capital to actively fight the SEC. They are really doing a service to the entire crypto community because if we lose this, in my personal opinion, again, you guys, not legal, but in my personal opinion, and researching SEC cases and reading all this stuff, if Ripple loses against the SEC, then it could be detrimental for the entire ecosystem in the United States.
Well, you say it's not legal, your legal opinion, it's your personal opinion. Well, it's my legal opinion, okay, that you are 100% on point because, Wendy, if you look at the complaint, many of the allegations are equally applicable to almost every altcoin. You know what I mean? And there are certain paragraphs that are in this complaint that would be applicable arguably to Bitcoin, say in 2015-ish, right? And so it does have that precedential impact. If the SEC wins, as it's alleging this case, if they were successful in everything they're trying to do, then every altcoin is a security if XRP is. And we can talk about why, but it absolutely, I encourage people to read the complaint where, had they just went after Ripple and said, Ripple, when you sold XRP between 2013 and 17 on these specific instances, that constituted a security, then you wouldn't be interviewing me right now. But that's not what they did. They said, retroactively speaking, for the last 8 years, XRP, all XRP, including the secondary market, free and independent of Ripple, they're all securities. And that's just an insane, absurdly overreaching approach by the SEC.
I've got another question for you.
Sure.
As far as I remember, I heard the SEC state the only two cryptocurrencies that are not deemed securities are Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Bitcoin is kind of like an outlier when we're talking about crypto because it is a cryptocurrency, but a lot of the fundamentals are so different when we're talking about like Ethereum or Litecoin or chain, like all these other cryptocurrencies. So I want to kind of exclude Bitcoin because it's different. But when we're talking about Ethereum, I want to say Ethereum had a sale. I want to say that, yes, Ethereum does have utility, but XRP does have utility. And when we're comparing the two together, just because you don't necessarily like the politics of Ripple, I think it's kind of important to note that Ethereum kind of looks like a security to me.
Well, listen, Ethereum held a pure ICO, right? They crowd sold to the public and they pulled that money together and then they built the blockchain. That is by definition a security in the early years. Now, if you look at Hinman's speech on June 14th, 2018, Bill Hinman, former director of the SEC's Corporation Finance, he said, setting aside Ethereum's fundraising, today's Ethereum, we don't look at it as a security. But Wendy, since this case was filed, the SEC has backed off that. They filed documents in the court that said, quote, we've never taken a position on Ethereum. That is the official policy of the SEC today, that was a personal opinion by Bill Hinman and that they've never taken a position on Ethereum. And so if XRP is a security, then Ethereum's a security. Now, whether or not the SEC will choose to go after them if they're successful against XRP, I don't know. But I can tell you that Ripple actually received legal advice that said, if you sell XRP in the early years and that's how you fund your operations, it will be deemed a security. So then Ripple went and they got venture capitalists to invest. And then that's how they built, their enterprise. The XRP ledger pre-exists Ripple. That's another fact that's very different than Ethereum. And so I agree with you. And I would just encourage any of your readers, even if they hate Ripple and they hate XRP, take a little bit of time and read the complaint, and you will say, wow, that applies to ETH, that applies to XLM, that applies to Algo. You know what I mean? That same language applies to just about every altcoin on the market.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I like, the thing is like there's bad actors in every single industry. And I think the crypto industry kind of gets, hit the hardest on it because we hear about all these scams and whatnot, which, I get it. It sucks. It's not a cool thing to do to not be honest and whatnot. But at the same time, I feel like crypto is under so much scrutiny when in reality, if you look at every single other sector, you look at healthcare, if you look at transportation, if you look at the construction industry, if you look at the fashion industry, every single industry has got its own issues. And I don't think that crypto should just be kind of isolated on that. And I also feel that if we start hitting all these crypto projects with all of these fines and, forcing them to pay all this capital to do X, Y, and Z, we're really going to take away from the innovation that can occur. There's other countries that aren't as strict as the United States. And I feel like the United States is kind of getting left behind. And it's kind of embarrassing for me to take a step back and watch what they're doing in all these other countries.
Oh, you're 100% right. I mean, look at the fact that you have Nexo, Celsius, you have these programs saying they're absolutely coming out and saying, US investors, you don't get to participate. Now, how awful is that? And if you look at the SEC's approach, where are they protecting you and me and your viewers from? Collecting what? 7%, 8%, 9%, 10% interest? If we
on a stable coin.
Right. They're going to protect us from that, to protect the incumbent banking system. And that's really what we have here. We have the SEC, Gary Gensler, they're acting as an arm of enforcement for the incumbent banking system. There's no other way to look at it, in my opinion.
So what are your thoughts about, and correct me if I'm wrong, I remember that Team Ripple had subpoenaed people in the SEC to show if they had invested in Ripple previously, and I think the judge denied it. And I thought that was a kind of a important judgment that was made, because if people are able to, if people from the SEC were investing in it, shouldn't that be considered as evidence, or shouldn't it be considered for at least for discussion?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just think of these facts. XRP traded for 7.5 years openly in the United States. In 2015, FinCEN declared it a virtual currency and said that Ripple had to comply with the banking laws, not the securities laws. In June 13th, 2018, there was a memo written on XRP that didn't recommend enforcement in 2018. Coinbase went to the SEC in January of 2019, Wendy, and said, we plan to list XRP next month, in February 2019. We've run it through our system. And like ETH, today's XRP is not a security under our stringent framework. Unless you tell us otherwise. The SEC didn't say anything. Coinbase listed. Now get this. In June of 2019, Ripple filed a form with the SEC that they were buying 9% of MoneyGram, and they were going to use XRP for remittances and give that XRP or transfer it to MoneyGram. And now we fast forward on the last day, as the former chairman and them are walking out the door, they slapped this lawsuit on Ripple, and they claim that the XRP that MoneyGram got from Ripple that sold to you or me through an exchange, that's an unregistered security as well. And to your point, the SEC did not have any policy related to digital assets until 2019. If they're the people that are experts in what is a security and what isn't a security, and their enforcement lawyers can own XRP up until 2019, how could we, or even Ripple's executives, believe it's a security?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that just aren't adding up. And I guess my last question is, because there's a lot to talk about, and I do want to have you come on again as the case goes on. But I guess my next question is, didn't President Biden nominate a former Ripple employee to do something with the SEC, or what was that?
Just recently, I forget his name, but it's appointed to be one of the deputy vices of the Federal Reserve. And that's a former board member. And, you have a former US Treasury on Ripple's board as well. So Ripple, a lot of times you see these connections with deep government connections like that. And then you wonder, why was this suit filed? You know what I mean? And I would encourage your viewers to, on my Crypto Law site, which is free, it's not sponsored, anything like that. I have the Grunfest letter where he warned the SEC not to file this case prior to filing it, and all the things why. And that's something maybe we can get into in the future.
I'd love that. Yeah. It's just very interesting to me to see all of this kind of play out. And I think the thing that bothers me the most is I feel like taxpayers fund the SEC. We fund all these government, all these public servants. And I feel like the amount of time and money and capital we have wasted on deciding whether or not this is a security or that's a security, instead of literally just rewriting the laws from 1933, because they're so outdated. Because back in 1933, they didn't have microwaves. I don't think they had televisions. They didn't have they didn't have fax machines. They for sure didn't have cell phones. So It's like, when we're looking at these laws about securities of stuff, like when it comes to like technology, it makes no sense to have the same laws still in place, because they don't even apply to what's happening today. And I just feel like if we look back and we calculate like how much money and time we have wasted, like fighting these silly little frivolous lawsuits and these complaints, we could have spent that time, like the SEC could have spent that time creating a program for all Americans, like a crypto course. Like, hey, if you want to invest in crypto, you have to pass this course, and you can buy whatever you can do whatever you want. I feel like we could have done something more positive.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, Hester Peirce, crypto mom of the SEC. She had a safe harbor proposal, and the SEC could have adopted that proposal and said to a company like Ripple, here's these benchmarks that you have to make, and you have 3 to 5 years to make them. If you don't make them, you're going to have to register as security. If you do make them, great. Like, supporting that kind of innovation. Your point is the best point, which is America, the United States, is being left behind. I mean, you have the UK's Financial Conduct Authority. They have a whole system where they said there are 3 types of tokens. There's a utility token, exchange token, and a security token. They evaluated XRP and said it was a hybrid between a security, between a utility and exchange token. And Japan's done this, Singapore, Switzerland, the UAE. There's all of these, foreign governments who are taking a lead on crypto and fostering innovation, where, like you say, we're sitting here debating whether, we're going to retroactively apply a 1946 law to today's, blockchain technologies. And it's insane.
Yeah, I agree. Well, John, thank you so much for coming on. I would love to have you come on and chat again about the progress of it, because this case is super important to me. Like, I don't know if you guys know, I'm a little bit nerdy. I actually do read some of these SEC statements and I go through and I, try to make sense of it. I feel like attorneys are the real experts in crypto, outside of the devs, because you guys can actually interpret this very hard to understand non-plain English contracts that are like a million pages long. So, because it makes it hard for the average person, because let's face it, in public school, we did not learn this fancy English that they utilize in these contracts. A lot of you guys have had, professional training to read it, or you just have to take some time to do so. So John, thank you so much. And do you want to tell everybody where they can find you?
John E. Deaton1 on Twitter, and you can go to cryptolaw.us and see the site has all the pleadings and all the information and things like that. Again, it's not sponsored, it's completely free.
Awesome. Again, you guys make sure to come back and check out John's website, especially if you've got any questions, maybe concerns, I don't know, or maybe you have some information. But again, John, thank you so much, and I'll catch y'all later.
All right. Thanks, Wendy.